All right, let's dive right in. If you're one of those people who's constantly busy but always feels like you're behind, we're going to explore a really powerful idea today. What if you're trying to solve the completely wrong problem? What if that exhaustion you feel has nothing to do with your schedule?
This is a thought so many high performers have. You've got all the systems down, your calendar is a work of art, your assistant is a master gatekeeper, and yet something just feels fundamentally off. And that's exactly where our story begins.
And this analogy, it just nails the feeling, doesn't it? It's that painful disconnect between the ridiculous number of hours you're putting in and any real sense of accomplishment. I mean, you're moving, you're working hard, but it's just inefficient and kind of agonizing.
And that brings us to the big question. We're all experts at managing our time, right? But what if time was never the most critical resource to begin with? What if we've been optimizing for the wrong thing this entire time?
This is where we see a really critical distinction. Look, your calendar is a fantastic logbook. It tells you exactly where you spent your hours. But your energy level, that tells you the impact of that time. One is pure logistics. The other, well, that's about your actual vitality. So, that brings us to the tool that's built to actually track this vital resource, the weekly energy audit. And don't worry, it's not complex. Its whole purpose is to give you a simple, honest look at your energy, what went out and what came in over the last 7 days. And let's be super clear about what this is not. This isn't just another corporate exercise. It's not about checking off boxes or hitting your metrics. This is a moment for real, genuine self-observation, totally separate from the usual pressure of performance reviews.
The audit itself is built on two really simple, but man, are they powerful questions. The first one forces you to look right at the energy vampires in your week. What activities, what meetings, what decisions just left you feeling completely depleted and disconnected?
And the second question? It's every bit as important. It's all about identifying your fuel. What gave you that jolt of focus or that sense of purpose and engagement? I mean, figuring out what actually restores you, that's half the battle. And it's the part most of us just, completely blow past. Now, this right here is why all that typical burnout advice just doesn't work for senior leaders. That drive to achieve, it's baked into their DNA. Simply telling a high performer to unplug or slow down, it's not a real strategy. It just doesn't compute.
So the crucial thing here is the reframe. This isn't about being weak, no way. This is about being strategic. Managing your energy is a strategic imperative. It's about protecting your most valuable assets so you can actually perform at your peak for the long haul. And you know what? When leaders actually do this for the first time, this is pretty much what they see. A massive, totally unsustainable imbalance. When you see it laid out like this, you just can't deny there's a problem. You can't run an engine on 90% exhaust and only 10% fuel. Not for long anyway. But okay, here's the really encouraging part. In some pilot programs, it took just 60 days, 2 months, for executives doing this audit to see real, measurable results. We're talking not just lower stress, but better strategic moves, like finally getting better at delegating. It works, and it works way faster than you'd think. And the things you learn, wow, they can be pretty shocking. Like that top revenue-generating task, turns out it might be absolutely killing your spirit. That weekly meeting you've run for years, totally pointless. And those unproductive quick calls with a colleague, they might actually be the most restorative part of your entire week. It pulls back the curtain on the hidden reality of your work. And look, the consequences of just ignoring this stuff, they are very, very real. The author even shares this really vulnerable story about having a complete breakdown in an airport. It wasn't some sudden surprise event. It was the inevitable result of running an energy deficit for years. The bill always, always comes due. Okay, so how do you actually start? It's really simple. Step 1, block off just 15 minutes on your Friday. No team, no Slack, just you. Step 2, list 3 specific things that drained you this week and 3 specific things that restored you. And then finally, step 3, ask yourself, what's the one single thing I have to change for next week to look and feel different? That's it. That's your first step. And you gotta remember, the goal here isn't to redesign your entire life in one afternoon.
The real power is in creating a consistent habit, a practice. It's that simple act of looking honestly at your energy week after week that builds the foundation for real, sustainable change. All right, let's land on the single biggest idea here, the one that really captures this whole shift in thinking. We treat ourselves like machines that can just run and run as long as we manage the clock. But we're not machines. We're human. We run on energy, and that energy is not just finite, it needs to be managed intentionally. So I'm going to leave you with this one last question to chew on. You have spent your entire career mastering the art of tracking and managing your time. The question is, when are you going to start applying that same discipline to tracking the one thing that actually fuels your performance, your passion, and your entire life?